Hi everyone, it's Meet Skelton with another vlog chat for you. I'm redoing a video I did earlier about my first crush because I didn't like the webcam, I wanted a better aesthetic. So I'm using my vlogging camera to do this. I think it'll work better, so more intimate style. So I just want to share a story, probably a cautionary tale about how fantasy can get you into trouble. So this is about my first crush, a girl that I used to ride horses with. So, I'll set the scene. Picture the early 1990s, rural Loudoun County, Virginia. There's this beautiful farm there where I used to ride my horse, and it was a stable where you could rent horses and take lessons. I've been doing that for a couple of years now. I was sort of teetering on the edge of puberty, entering my teenage years, and I started realizing something. There was this girl I really liked. So it took several months, kind of. So set the scene, country music in the background, sawdust on the ground, people with their horses in and out, whinnies and nays behind us, here we are, okay. So this farm was really neat. It was owned by the same family that had operated it since, it's been in their family since the Revolutionary War. And so I loved the horses because there's one thing I could do that some other kids couldn't do. I could ride horses. And now at this point I was a little bit chubby, a little bit awkward, of course. And I was entering the world of hormones. My hormones were a-churning. But Shannon was a very attractive girl. She was blonde and she sometimes had braids in her hair. And she had blue eyes. Now she kind of reminds me of this actress from this TV show called Heartland, which is a Canadian show, and the girl in that, Amber Marshall, I believe, she kind of reminded me of Shannon, what Shannon looked like to me anyway. And so Shannon was real pretty, and we'd ride horses together. We were in some horse shows together, and sometimes she liked to have me and a relative. She asked us to get food for her, so we'd take her to McDonald's, and she would get a number 4, hold the mayo, which became my favorite meal at McDonald's after watching her eat it. So you could tell I was starting to get quite infatuated, and that's the key word here, infatuation. This was not true love. See, I considered myself a romantic, and I thought this was true love, but it really wasn't. It was infatuation bordering on lust, because Shannon had a way of flaunting her feminine attributes. There was a swimming pool there, and she loved to wear her bikini, and she would get in the swimming pool, and I remember one day I was sitting there in my t-shirt, just sitting at the edge of the pool, and she'd be swimming along, and she came right up next to me in her bikini, asked me how I was, and it's like, okay, wow, okay. So yeah, so all of this turned into these feelings just and stirring of emotions just built up inside of me, and it was just about to explode. So I had this book I kept called the Shannon book. And so in the book, I would write like poems teetering on the inappropriate with illustrations, I guess. And that got me into trouble later, but I'll explain. So, so basically, yeah. So I was really into Shannon. So I thought, oh, she's so pretty, and I want rendezvous in Hayloft with her or something. This was I was 14, so. But here's the thing. Shannon was 2 years older than me, and she was in high school, and I was still in middle school, and that's just a huge, you're two different worlds then. So she wasn't interested in me, and I wanted her to ride my horse one day, but she didn't want to ride my horse. She wanted to ride this other guy's horse, because he had a bigger, better horse than me. It was more expensive, and she wanted to ride his horse, and his name was Eric, so. They would ride a lot together, sometimes till sunset, and they would go on trails together. I guess they were boyfriend and girlfriend, and I just felt so awkward, and this feelings of jealousy started. I started feeling sort of jealous about this whole thing. Well, at school, it turns out I found out that Eric had later dumped Shannon, and Becky Sue, who was dating Eric later, told me in homeroom that actually Shannon was something of a wild girl, and she was kind of known as being white trash or something because she was caught in the back of a pickup truck doing something or other. Now, all these were rumors, and I know kids say things, and to me, I refuse to believe it. In my mind, Shannon was the perfect angel, so I would not entertain such thoughts. But anyway, I was thinking of a way to get Shannon to my house. I knew where she lived because we dropped her off at her house several times. You know, she didn't have a license yet, so sometimes relative of mine we'd go and drop her off. And I thought, well, I'll have a dinner party and see if I can invite her over. And so I talked to her mother on the phone. She said, oh, I think she'd be interested, but I never heard back from them. So what was my next plan of action? I started sending her love letters anonymously, and some of these letters were very suggestive, I suppose, but I didn't mean to go that direction. I just was expressing my love. So what happened was, over the course of the time, I started sending these letters. Then one day I sent her a bouquet of roses and with a note that said, you have just won the Kentucky Derby of my heart. Well, after that, I couldn't contain any longer, and I finally had to reveal who the anonymous was. So I said, hey, it's Meade from Horse Camp. We rode horses together. We were in horse shows together. I'd love to take you out to dinner and a movie sometime. Well, apparently that set off a red flag because she got very upset and she told her father about everything. And he called my house and said basically that she was not interested, and if I kept doing this, he would have to call the sheriff. So there I was at 14 facing a restraining order. So folks, that's what happens when you build these fantasies up in your mind, because I had these fantasies, but you know, all these kinds of fantasies, it was not real. We never had a relationship. So that's the danger of these things. So I was very heartbroken, but I eventually got over Shannon, and I wondered what she was up to. So I found out she had since gotten married to some Mexican, I think. And she runs, I think she's in multi-level marketing or some kind of thing like that. So I think she's done very well for herself, and I wish her no malice. It was not her fault. You know, we were two ships that just passed in the night, or two horses, I should say. Two stagecoach. Mine was going that way, and hers was going that way, and we just couldn't meet up in the middle and hitch. So it just felt very sad, but that's how first crushes go. So that's my story of my first crush, my first heartache. Do you have a heartache story? Your first crush? Did the person love you back? You know, oftentimes these are one-way streets. So if you do, leave it in the comments section, and thank you so much for watching. I'll be sharing some more stories for you, some more storytelling vlogs. Until then, folks, go to my website at meadskeletsplace.com, and remember, folks, say a prayer for someone special today. Bye.